Hey guys, Kamina the coach here. I felt like I was never gonna get this in. I'm not sure why. I guess because I'm a lot. I'll have to think about that. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about why I haven't been able to get this video in. Last weekend was my birthday, and I meant to do a video for my birthday, but I don't know. I think I was enjoying myself too much or something. Interesting. Anyways, so Kamina the coach here. If you're new to the channel, I used to focus this channel on working and living abroad because that's what I was doing. And now that I'm back in the country since March of 2020, I've been focusing on healing my adoption wound. And so I've been sharing that with the audience and ultimately just sharing tips and tricks on how to live a more regulated, less trigger-filled life. And that's definitely my goal. My goal is my own inner peace so that I radiate the change that I want to see in the world. And that's me in a nutshell. So I'm a transracial late discovery adoptee. I was adopted by white people, and I didn't know until I was 32 that I was adopted. So lots of fun stuff to work with there. Lots of moving parts, lots of layers upon layers. If you think that nobody understands your trauma, that's probably one of the things that is re-traumatizing you. I'm just saying. So I want to talk about in this video why you're rushing and being late. Like the things, like first of all, that is part of your trauma. I want to propose that, and why it's part of your trauma, and some things that you could do that will help, or at least for me anyways, because it's a big trigger for me to rush and to be late, and I know it is for a lot of other people as well. So I never really thought about this until I really love Anna Runkle, the crappy childhood fairy. I really love Patrick, whatever his name is. He talks about childhood trauma as well. But Anna is the one who did a video on why procrastinating and rushing are actually triggers and signs of your trauma. So, not original thought. I don't want to take credit for the thought, but I do want to try to give you some solutions for it. So, why are we rushing? Why are we perpetually late? Well, when you're constantly doing stuff, you get to avoid being with you. And I see it all the time in people, and rushing and being late are not the only things that people use to not be with themselves, to avoid thinking, and not even thinking, just being alone in the quiet with themselves. So, sorry about the white on my face, by the way. So, that helped? Not much. Sorry. So, it can be quite painful to take a step back and look at yourself, especially if you haven't truly developed that self-worth. I think the word self-love is overused. And I think it's misconceptualized as well. I think what it is more like a sense of self-worth and knowing that we're worthy, even how about of the attention of ourselves. And it can be quite painful, especially if you're not where you want to be, to spend time internalizing and really looking at who you are, who your pain has caused you to become, where you're at right now, why you're not where you want to be, all those kind of things. It can be very painful if you're not where you want to be. It can. I recognize that. People cover this up by browsing the internet, staying really busy at jobs, even jobs that are doing good stuff for the public. So I met a guy who does work with a nonprofit for homeless people, and even at dinner he's working. He's like, because his cause is so important that he's not focusing any energy on himself. So I'm like, I kind of told him, I was like, I think I'm going to avoid this situation because I didn't really say this, but it's a red flag for me when people are overly busy. It means that to me, it means that you're avoiding something. And so then this very egoless person proceeded to attack me and tell me or accuse me of being self-centered and the only person I care about is myself in the world. So you see that very fragile ego, and he's using all of that being busy to fix or heal or cover up some things that need to be addressed. A new friend of mine said something very wise: the things that trigger you are the things that you need to focus on healing. And I really believe that, and that young man probably has a lot of healing work he needs to do, and probably won't do it because he feels like his work is so honorable that it's okay for him to be a martyr and sacrifice his own peace and self-worth. Just my opinion. So, back to the topic. We're late because we're running from ourselves, constantly rushing. We don't want to get up when we're supposed to because we're dreading facing the world. Occasionally we have taken jobs that we hate because, again, we don't feel worthy. We're dreading going to the job, so just putting it off 5 or 10 more minutes. Even though we need the job to survive, we haven't found anything to replace the job. You see the toxicity that this causes. It's a lot more serious than just being late, right? Now with friends, it can cause you to lose friends or cause your friends to think, ill of you. But with your job, it could actually cause you to lose your job. And unless you're independently wealthy or a trust fund baby, if you're like me, you need your job. So probably need to work on that, right? So I just want to give you some of the things that I use for me that help a lot. And I guess I didn't start doing this until I started moving into serious healing work. So the number one thing you can do for yourself to stop rushing and being unprepared is to prepare. Really, really prepare. So I haven't been doing it here because I don't have pots and pans, but normally on Sundays I meal prep. I prep all my lunches for the week. I'm doing frozen healthy meals right now. It's not the healthiest thing in the world to be doing, but at least I'm not eating junk. So I would meal prep on Sunday. I had little Tupperware dishes. I would put out everything for the 5 days and put my snacks and everything in my containers. And all of that stuff went into the refrigerator, and all I had to do was grab it in the morning. I take a ton of vitamin supplements. I also take all my vitamin supplements for the day. I wrap them in a little piece of paper towel as soon as I get home, right? I don't wait to do this before I'm going to bed. I do this as soon as I get home because I know that I won't do it if I wait. I get lazy as the day moves on, and so I make sure to do, I prep my vitamins as soon as I get home. As soon as I get home, I also lay out my clothes for the next day. I do laundry on the weekend while I'm relaxed and don't have to do anything else. So my laundry is done for the week. And so when I come home from work, I lay out my clothes for the next day. So that means my lunch, my vitamins, and my clothes for the next day are already prepared. So what else? It's hard to get up in the mornings if you're exhausted, and a lot of us that carry childhood trauma with us, or adoption trauma, or whatever kind of trauma, we have trouble sleeping because we've got a million memories and thoughts playing in our minds. All right, you can't rest because you've got this looped story on repeat, and it's exhausting. It's hard to rest. Even though you're tired of that replay, it's hard to rest. So I can be very regimented. I am not as black and white as I used to be. I can deviate from my routine sometimes and not be hard on myself about it. But in general, my routine is, excuse me. But in general, my routine is I go home and I lay out, prepare for the next day. I work out. I get a good workout in at home. And I lay in the bath. That's my self-care. Bath may not be your thing, but every day I make sure to add one item of self-care to my routine. So my bath is usually my self-care for the day. Yeah, I work out, but that's not something I work out because I know my body needs it, not necessarily. I know some people love to work out. I'm not one of those people. But I do love to lay in the bathtub, and if I don't get to, I do feel a little because that is my real love on myself time. I usually take a salt bath, a salt bubble bath, and then I get out and I do all my communicating with the world from the time I get off until 8 o'clock p.m. At 8 o'clock p.m. I cut off. Now, mind you, I don't go to bed until like 11:30. But at 8 p.m. I cut off all communication to the outside world. Why? Well, it takes a really long time to stop looping the things that have happened during the day in your brain, or at least in my brain for sure. So, especially like thinking about stuff I've said, stuff I've done, have I offended somebody, that constant chatter, that self-doubt, reliving events of the day, thinking about new concepts and new ideas, conversations that I've had with new people. It is too much to try to process that information after 8 p.m. at night. It's just too much. If I let this slide, like if I meet a new person and their schedules are such that I need to go a little bit longer, the furthest I'll go is 9. If I go any further than that, I'm going to regret it because I'm not going to be able to sleep well. I'm not. Not only do I stop communicating with the outside world, that also means no more social media. It means YouTube videos, any new information. I am not taking in any new information. I play Sudoku or the wood version of Sudoku, shapes game. I play a shapes game, or I'll play solitaire, something to calm and quiet my mind. Or I'll just sit in quiet in my place. I've made my place very, very zen and soothing and peaceful. I have a fountain that's very peaceful to listen to. It usually goes that I will play something up until about 10, and then I'll just light my candles in my fountain and just listen to my fountain run, or and look at my tapestries. It is not exactly that easy these days because I've moved into a new apartment, and my neighbor likes to sing, so really, really, really loud at the top of his voice. So I'm having to put earplugs in or whatever. So normally I just sit in the silence and listen to my fountain going. And that's how I end my night. And by the time it's time for me to go get into bed, I'm ready. My mind is clear. My body is ready for the rest. I'm feeling very peaceful and calm. And yeah, so I don't rush. I'm not late. I don't rush. I also make sure to get up well before, because I'm well rested, well before I need to leave out of the house. I don't rush when I wake up, and I don't have to rush because everything is already out for me. The only thing I have to do is wash my face, put some water on my hair, brush my teeth, grab my stuff and walk out the door. And that really, really helps me from being hurried and starting my day off the wrong way. All of that preparation really, really, really helps me a lot. So maybe you won't use all of these. Maybe all these won't work for you. But I promise you, if you're running late all the time, and the sun, sorry about that. If you're running late all the time and you're hurrying all the time, I guarantee that you're not doing one, if not all of these. I guarantee you're probably not getting a good night's sleep. You're probably not getting a good night's sleep. You're probably not preparing your stuff, right? A good solid routine will really, really help you with all of that, right? All of that. So, we'll just recap what we went through real quick. You're hurrying. You're not getting the sleep you need. You're browsing the internet too late at night. You're doing all that stuff to run from yourself, and I get it. I do. But rushing and being late is re-traumatizing yourself, especially if you lose your job because of that. And it's easy to turn the victim light on, like, oh, this always happens to me. But you're doing it to yourself. And this is one of those things that you can actually control. And you will feel a whole lot better if you do it. So, rushing, being late, using social media too late, not having a routine is mucking up your life. You're already stressed out. You've already got triggers and stuff that you're dealing with. Don't add to it. So, you can correct this by prepping the day before or even the week before for the week to come. Prepping your meals, laying out your clothes the night before, your breakfast, any medicine that you need to take, making sure that it's ready the night before. Getting in some exercise before you go to sleep. As soon as you get home, actually. I don't go to the gym. I do exercises in my house using the videos on YouTube. Get you some exercise in. Do some self-care daily. Do something for yourself that makes you feel peaceful and happy. And cut that dang social media off and outside communication a couple of hours before your bedtime. Go to bed early enough, right? If you cut off that communication and you do that self-care and you do that exercise before bedtime, you'll be ready for bedtime when it's time to go to sleep. Get up early enough so that you don't have to rush. So I always recommend about an hour before you've got to leave the house. Get up early enough. You don't have to rush. You brush your teeth, wash your face, put on your clothes that are already laid out for you. Grab your lunch and walk out the door, right? And it will find that will help you so much. What's your routine? What's working for you? Let me know if you're doing something differently that's working for you. Right? If you're having trouble establishing routine and you find yourself in crisis quite a bit and you need a little bit of help, don't hesitate to reach out. Please, I would love to help you bring some order to a chaotic life. I know how it is. You can find me at my email, Kamina the Coach with a K @gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out. And until next time, wishing you all love, light, peace, and joy. Until next time, I'm Kamina the Coach.